Radio Rahim here with Sam Jones. Always a pleasure to catch you. You know, I don't talk to you nearly as much as I used to. Last time we sat down was in Saudi, and it was before even the first fight here. Now, we got to deal with the fight that's right in front of us, and then we'll deal with some of the fights that are behind us. Eubank Benn 2. Last time I saw you, I think Ben had just pushed Eubank or something that week.
Oh, Chris said egged Connor.
Okay. That build-up was mad. Everybody was talking about it. Every corner I turned, somebody had an opinion. And the truth is, and people around this fight don't like to hear it, it's been very quiet.
Yeah, it's been a more subdued build-up because I think because they've shared 12 rounds together, there's going to be a natural respect there. And Connor's a bit less emotional, a bit less agitated than last time. So I think that it's a more of a subdued build-up, but still, you know what you're going to get with these two. You're going to get a car crash of a fight, which is what we want to see.
Do you think, though, that the fans are as invested this time? Is the narrative still there to draw them in?
When those two face off in a packed stadium, on Saturday, the fans are all going to be captivated. Whether you're there or whether you're paying for it on pay-per-view, you're going to be interested in the fight.
It appears that Ben is a lot more focused. However, he's still able to be manipulated emotionally. I mean, I got to say, Eubank really does seem to have his number.
Eubank is the master of the narrative. Oh, he's the poor guy making weight, but ultimately he's boxing at a weight that he's boxed at his whole life. So it's look, that's what Eubank does. He's a fantastic with the microphone, Eubank. He knows how to sell a fight. He knows how to get under people's skin. Credit to him. But I think the younger, fresher man, Conor Benn's going to win on Saturday night.
Now, if you were sat at the top table in Eddie Hearn's chair, would Chris Eubank be able to shut you down?
About me? Well, I don't know. Eubank is very good at speaking. So I would be hard to talk over, because I would just talk over him. So I would sit there till next week. So if he was planning on keeping me quiet, I would have kept speaking until it would have been a competition. But yeah, it would have been good.
Now, we know who lived this boxing life, that typically the rematch is a replay of the first fight, but a little bit easier for the winner. You think we see that same formula unfold again?
I just think it's going to be the same sort of fight. I think it's going to be slower to catch fire, but I think it will catch fire because it's the way they two fight. You can't. Chris Eubank's not a boxer, and Conor likes to come forward. It's the two styles, they gel. One guy's bigger than the other, but one guy's fresher than the other. So I just feel Conor Benn's going to win the fight.
You got Conor in this fight.
Absolutely.
Decision or stoppage?
Stoppage.
Okay, win. When's the stoppage coming?
Middle to late.
I'm going to take you back a little bit, because the interview that I just dropped with Don Charles,
Yeah, I heard it.
it's only come out a few days ago, but it was recorded many weeks ago now.
Yeah.
You're one of the names that came up and one of the names that are a bit controversial in it. You've seen the interview, most have. Just to recap, though, he appears to feel like you've played a role in his sacking and deceived him in the process. How do you respond to those allegations?
What Don said was, on my part, was just not the truth. I rang Don. Listen, if Don thinks I'm a prick, no problem. That's an opinion. If Don thinks I'm not smart, that's an opinion. We're all allowed them. But he spoke untruths there, and I rang him and I pulled him up on it, and Don will tell you himself, he said the next time he does an interview, he will correct himself. He said that I said, when I got the call from Stan Dubois to ask if I would be a part of Team Dubois, I contacted Don straight away, because I remember it so vividly, because my son was in hospital at the time, so he was having his appendix out, so that part of my life I remember so well. So I got home that day, and I rang Don, because I thought, me and Don have not had the most plain sailing past, because he trained a kid called Florian Marcoux, who I felt at the time, not just me, Florian wanted to change, and I kind of agreed with it, because I think that Don is a better trainer of a big man, and it's proven. Don's a very good trainer, but I think he's better with heavyweights. That's my opinion of Don Charles, right? So when Don Charles, when I got the call with Stan Dubois, I rang Don out of courtesy because I thought, you know what, I've got to break the ice with Don. If I'm going to work with Don Charles, I'm going to ring him. Why would I ring Don if I thought that he was not, if Daniel wasn't going to continue working with him? It makes no sense, right? Am I right or am I wrong?
Unless you wanted to assuage his anxiety while you put somebody else in
Why
place.
would I care? It's not my business. Listen, Stan Dubois, Stan Dubois.
I'm not saying this is what happened, but what it appears like from the outside.
Let me tell you what happened. So I rings Don Charles and I says, Don, between me and you, I'm going to be working with Daniel Dubois. Keep this between us. What Don went and said is that I said to Don on the phone, don't tell Stan Dubois. Why would I not want you to tell Stan Dubois when Stan Dubois gave me the job? Does that make sense? He said that I said, quote, don't tell Stan Dubois. That is a lie. And Don said, oh no, it's the same thing. I know, it's not the same thing. He said, keeping it between us is don't tell anybody. No, I didn't want the media to find out before Daniel was comfortable with announcing it. That's what I meant. So what Don said was just not the truth. Don was emotional when he was giving that interview, and Don is an emotional guy. But listen, Don's a big lump. Don would squash me like a wasp with a newspaper. But I'm not scared of him. I'll sit and have a conversation with Don in front of the cameras. But all I ask from Don is, tell the truth about what happened. Don't say that I said don't tell Stan Dubois and I called you and I said, oh, your job's safe. I never said those words. I said I'm looking forward to working with you, Don, which I genuinely was. Look at these. I'm going to show you something right now, right? Just so it's out there. What does that say there, Rahim? What does it know? What does it say?
There's a lot there. Which one am I looking at?
All of them.
I believe Daniel Dubois is Don Charles. Wait, I believe
Just read
Daniel
that.
Dubois is Don Charles' first
World champion.
He could have. I'm trying to read it through my phone.
Just basically, Don Charles. What's that say there? Don Charles has been immense for Daniel's career. Don Charles should have won Trainer of the Year. Why would I say these things if I was planning to get rid of, if I was plotting and planning to get rid of Don Charles? Don was emotional, right? So I never thought I'm going to tweet stuff and be immature. I thought when I get an opportunity to speak to you specifically, because you gave the interview with Don, I just want to tell the factual side of it. And that is a fact. And when I rang Don, he admitted, oh, you didn't say that. So you shouldn't say stuff that isn't correct. I'm not going to call him a liar because I think he was emotional at the time and he was just kind of in a rage, but ultimately, I didn't fire Don Charles. And if I did, I would fucking tell him.
Did you weigh in on the decision?
The decision was made. The decision was made. Another thing, right? Don talks about respect, and Don is an emotional guy, so you got to give him the benefit of the doubt here. But when he was saying about Daniel is incapable of making a decision. I think that's disrespectful. Daniel Dubois is a 28-year-old man that's made a decision for his career. Whether it's right or whether it's wrong, that's up to Daniel Dubois. Do you understand what I mean? But when it goes out to Don Charles, Don, if you're listening to this, if you ever want a coffee or you want to discuss anything with me, my line's always open. I called Don Charles after Daniel relieved him of his duties. I called him afterwards. He didn't say that in the interview. I rang him afterwards. And I had a private conversation with him, but if he wants to air that, that's no problem. But I told him I've got a lot of respect for him, which I have. But look, all I think is look, it's an emotional time. Don did a great job for Daniel Dubois. Let me put that there. Did a great job, but he earned a lot of money with Daniel Dubois, and it was a very successful part of his career. Became heavyweight champion of the world with Don, and that's forever. Don Charles is forever a heavyweight champion of the world coach, and good luck to him. But I respect Don. I genuinely respect him. But if he wants to sit down and have a chat with me personally, whenever he wants, he's got my number. He can meet me or ever have a coffee. No problem. But let's be adults about it. Let's not say things that aren't true.
Let's look forward to Don. Let's look forward to Daniel Dubois. You were on the team. Now, maybe, correct me if I'm wrong, I haven't seen actually anything definitive saying where Daniel Dubois is training.
Daniel Dubois will announce off his own accord who and when he's training, but he just doesn't feel the need to make a specific announcement yet. He's at the gym with Tony Sims. He's at the gym with. But when when Dan wants to have a photo and does that, but he shouldn't be. Daniel Dubois will do whatever he wants. And big fight news coming for Daniel soon. And I'm sick of talking about all these bollocks. To be honest with you, I just want to concentrate on regaining the heavyweight championship of the world. I can't hear myself think because of this.
I know. Regaining the heavyweight championship of the world is a little bit of a windy road at this point, being that Alexander Usyk owns them all, and that is a fighter who's beaten Dubois twice. What road do you see? What path do you see to Dubois getting the championship?
Needs to go away. Usyk just needs to take them belts and fucking go away because he's beating all the Brits. But Daniel Dubois is going to be in some great fights. He's only 28 years old. Look what he's accomplished. He's only just scratched the surface. So big future ahead of Daniel Dubois, and we're going to talk about positive things, not things that happened months ago.
What positive changes should we expect to see when Daniel does step into the ring again?
You'll find out, Rahim. You're
the man who's in the know.
Listen, no, you'll find
Give me
out.
a sneak peek.
Daniel felt that he needed a change. And this is what, listen, nobody speaks about when Anthony Joshua goes from trainer to trainer. Like, he's been going to so many...
I was just about to ask you about that.
No, I'm being serious. I'm saying, like, Daniel's had lots of not had lots of trainers. AJ's had more trainers. It is what it is. Every fight is different. Joe Joyce, when I was with him, he had a lot of trainers. It's what the fighter wants. Boxing's a short career. And if you feel you need to make tweaks to your career, you fucking do it.
So all I'm asking is, what do you expect these tweaks to bring?
Get me going here.
What is the payoff? You get a new trainer and you're expected to reach
voice,
a new level.
A new voice, new ideas. People don't know this, right? Daniel Dubois trained with Tony Sims years ago, so they know each other. So you just watch and find out.
Let's talk about the heavyweight landscape for a bit. I know Usyk goes away and everybody's life gets a hell of a lot easier.
Yeah,
but
he doesn't go away.
He doesn't appear to be packing his bags just yet.
Yeah, we're just gonna have to wait till he's like 50 years old for someone to beat him, and then But Usyk's the solidified best heavyweight of this generation, and he deserves that tag. What I don't want for Usyk though is somebody to get their opportunity against Usyk and beat him because he's too old. Does that make sense? I would prefer Usyk to retire, not because he keeps whooping everybody, just because you want to see him retire on top because he's an all-time great.
Sometimes a fighter like that gets beat by the least likely of opponents.
Absolutely.
I would say Fabio Wardley was one of the least likely opponents for Alexander Usyk just even 6 months ago.
Fabio Wardley can knock your block off with one shot, right? So, listen, Usyk would go into that fight a massive favourite, but Fabio Wardley's got that game-changing power, so you can never write him off. Never write him off.
Do you think that Daniel Dubois has a road back to the championship?
Yes.
And what course does that take? You're helping guide him.
Outside of Usyk, Fury, and AJ, Dubois is the biggest name in the heavyweight division, in my opinion. He is the biggest name. You can't mean Wilder's finished. Wilder's finished. Daniel Dubois is 28 years old. I'm talking about like Dubois has done Wembley. Yeah, it's happening, mate. Okay. AJ's Daniel Dubois sold Wembley out twice in a row. There's not many fighters that have done that. So Daniel Dubois has got to be respected.
Away in the gym and away from boxing as well.
Don't talk like that, Rahim. You know what I'm talking about.
Let me give you a question that really you can answer.
Let's go.
Who should be the comeback fight for Daniel Dubois?
Anybody that puts him in a position to fight for a world title, whether that's Frank Sanchez, whether that's Caballel, Okoli, it doesn't matter.
Does he need a tune-up fight?
No, does he need a tune-up fight? He's a world-level fighter, former world champion. He doesn't need a tune-up fight. He's 28 years old, in the prime of his life. He doesn't need a tune-up fight. He'll go straight back into a big fight.
One of the things that is going to be the narrative of his next fight, almost no matter who he faces, unless it is in fact a tune-up, is whether or not he has the heart to fight through adversity.
People never had that question when he had a 50-50 scrap with Anthony Joshua and ended up knocking him out. Jarrell Miller, who has a granite chin. Jarrell Miller is a problem in the heavyweight division. Daniel Dubois went to war with him. He went to war with Hrgovic, and he was the underdog in all of them fights. People never questioned his heart then. He's lost to Usyk twice, the greatest heavyweight of this generation, and Joe Joyce when he was a kid. Do you understand? So people never questioned his bollocks and heart then. They're only doing it now because they're pushing that kind of narrative. But look, Daniel Dubois will do his talking in the ring. Leave the shit talk to me.
and I have done. And today you've talked a lot of shit, but you've also talked a lot of substance. As always, a pleasure to talk to you. Radio Rahim with Sam Jones.